Okay, fellas, bring it in. Welcome back. Hope you had a good holiday. Now, first things first, there are a few players who we have sold who have not come back, just weren't renewing contracts, that sort of thing. So just be aware of that. You guys are the guys who are going to get us through this conference league. I think we can have a really good push in this competition, potentially even go deeper than we did last time when making the quarterfinals. Okay, so I want a big effort to start this year off, and let's see if we can potentially win our first European title. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 67 of Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. It's the first one proper of season 7. The year is 2027 in game, and we are starting it off with some transfers and of course with the first knockout round of the Conference League, where we are taking on Royal Antwerp of Belgium. So if you are looking forward to today's episode, could be a big one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But first things first, we are going to have a look at our opposition coming up in just a little bit in today's episode in the first knockout round of the Conference League. If you missed out how we did make our way into this competition in yesterday's episode, I'll leave a link to that above my head in the top right corner. But it has been a few months since we did drop down from the Europa League group stages into this Conference League to kick off the new year. So things have changed just a little bit both here and potentially at Royal Antwerp. They have just moved their way ever so slightly further up the league table since we last checked in on them in late 2026. But sixth in the Jupiter Pro League. Most of their recent success, as we ran through yesterday, has been through that Clocky Cup. They are just moving themselves into an upper mid-table team now, still a little bit behind the likes of Standard Liège, Genk and Anderlecht, but they are a decent team from a stronger league than ours. This is going to be a good little test to see just how good we are dropping down from that tough group that we did have in the Europa League into this Conference League. Of course, last time we did make our way into the Conference League knockouts, it took Napoli to knock us out at the quarterfinals. And just looking through the teams in yesterday's episode still in this competition, I think this is a weaker version of the Conference League this time around. So potentially, hopefully we can go just that little bit further. But before we do get into the first leg of this first knockout round tie, we have, as suggested by the intro, sold a few players, and they have already left the club before the Icelandic transfer window does open one day off the back of this first leg. 4 outs and 3 ins. All of the ins are under 19 players who join us from South America once their contracts did expire. We've got Leonardo Rosero there, a 1.5 star current ability, 4 star potential Colombian right winger. Above him, Diego Estrada, 2 star current ability, 3.5 star goalkeeper, also from Colombia. And the other addition so far is Hugo Serpa, again from Colombia, 2 star current ability, 4 star potential. He is a right back, but we're going to be focusing at the start of today's episode on the outs, and these are players who are not available for us in these Conference League games. First off, we did sell Oli Hrafnan Kjartansson. He was a player who wasn't registered in our squad anyway, so not too big of a loss here for the player that we did bring back to Iceland a few seasons ago. He has gone out to ADO Den Haag for £45,000, so a little bit of a loss there considering that we did spend a bit of money to get this guy back in a very versatile midfielder just back a few seasons ago when we were just trying to up our quality of the homegrown nation players. That is not as big of a concern these days, and he has gone out to ADO Den Haag after not making too many appearances for us there. The Icelandic player, who as you can see, quite versatile. We signed him for £400,000 at the start of 2025. Not a great bit of business, only playing 2 games for the club when he was here, and selling him for £45,000 turned out wasn't really at the quality that we did need for one of those homegrown nation players. And off the back of that, a few more familiar faces that we have sold. First off, Raul Prada. This guy wasn't actually registered in our squad for the Conference League in the most recent stages anyway, but he has been a good servant to the club. Has the Spanish left back. He has gone back to his home nation to join Deportivo La Coruña, and we sold him there for a fee of £25,500 after picking him up for a free transfer back in the middle of 2023. Has been a pretty solid backup left back for us for most of that time, putting in pretty good shifts when we have called upon him for good seasons in the top division. But we've got a few good promising left backs coming through at the club now, and felt like we could let him go now that he is just declining. He was down around that 2.5-star current ability and potential line when we did let go of the former Real Oviedo man. And the other left back who we have sold is Leandro Diaz. Now this one probably comes as a little bit more of a surprise, our first choice left back at the end of 2026, but unfortunately he was on the last year of his contract and would not renew it, so we decided to cash in on him while we could, and he has gone out to Udinese, has the former Porto man, for £45,000, and he has gone straight back out on loan to Aluca. Potentially we could have tried to get him back on loan, but he was a really good left back for us, was the former Porto man, signed at exactly the same time as we did sign Raul Prata, and was our first choice left back for most of our time since we have joined the top division, and has played most of the European campaigns so far. Another player that we did bring in on a free, so making a decent profit on him, but with him not wanting to renew that contract, it was time to move on from Leandro Diaz. And the other player who was registered in our Conference League squad who we have sold is João Pedro. We sort of hinted that we might look at letting him go over the last few episodes. He is now 30 years old, is the Portuguese striker. He built up a superb record here, but now with the likes of Benjamin Rubio, we've also got Goodness on, who I think is a better option as a backup striker considering the amount of money that we did pay for him at the start of last season. We decided that we would let our former first choice striker go, another player that we did pick up during that 2023 season on a free transfer. He got to around the 89 goal mark in his career here at Völsungur, those 4 solid seasons that he did have here, but he has now joined Benfica e Castelo Branco in his home nation of Portugal for £25,500. So despite being our top goal scorer in this save so far, he has left us just with that ability decreasing with those additions to the squad that we have made. So that means that we have had to change a few things in terms of squad registration going into these games coming up against Antwerp and for the remainder of the Conference League, because I don't believe we can re-register players once we have registered them for this knockout stage. So our first 11 is pretty similar. You will notice Adri Garrido starting at right back. That is because Ian Carlo unfortunately picked up an injury in the preseason. He's going to be out for a little bit longer. He is out for 10 days to 3 weeks with a twisted ankle. Ledson also out, but not as serious an injury for a player who isn't really getting a lot of game time these days anyway. But Adri Garrido is our starting right back at the moment. Eugenio Roselli is our starting left back. He was a good addition in the end considering those sales that we have made. And Shatzakis, the young Greek left back come right back who we did sign at the start of 2025. Very promising. He is now going to be registered as our backup left back, and he can also cover both right back and the DM role as well. So a very versatile bench option there for us in this team. But we do have a few more players coming in off the back of this game once the Icelandic transfer window does open. But Stamatas Shatzakis is going to get a decent run of games here in the Conference League when either Garrido or Roselli do struggle out there. So here's a new player registered into the squad with those sales that we have made at left back. Otherwise, the exact same starting 11 from what we did have in the second game of yesterday's episode. We do have Mbeba on the bench at the moment to cover right back, with a Fosu there to cover centre back. Goodness on now our backup striker with that sale of João Pedro. Make our way down a little bit further. Pat Ainscoe is back from his loan at Minnesota United. He is going to be our backup out and out right winger, just like Bjarkas on there, as he can cover left wing as well as right wing. And one of the other new players that we have registered for the Conference League is Christian Bungart. He is a young Danish midfielder, defensive midfielder, who we did have out on loan last season. He has rejoined us and actually looks a little bit better than Philippe West, so he is going to be registered in his place, with Noam Bonnet having left us at the end of the last domestic season. So those are the changes that we have made to our squad, as I suggested a few episodes ago, just trying to freshen up that second 11 and get a few more players in who can potentially usurp these players currently in the first 11 with the good potential that they do have. But a pretty good 11 that we do have at our disposal here for this first league against Antwerp, and we will come back shortly from Belgium and see how we get on here in the first knockout round of the Conference League. And we do have TV coverage for these Conference League knockouts. There is the Royal Antwerp team, no names there that look too familiar, playing a 4-2-3-1. We'll see how we get on against these guys, and there is our team as we ran through before with those sales and that injury to Ian Carlo considered. Still a pretty decent team, and we'll see how we get on here in the away leg in Belgium. 4 minutes gone, first highlight of the game. It does start with Royal Antwerp in position in the dark red. We are in our green Northern Lights uniform, playing left to right in the first half, and Roselli does get the ball back for us there just as Antwerp were on the attack. Nice ball over there for Benjamin Rubio, gets a shot off. It comes, it takes a deflection. It's a really lucky goal, that one, but we will take it. 5 minutes gone. It is 1-0 Völsungur here in Belgium. A very fluky goal. Cadena plays it to Arnason. He picks out the long ball for Benjamin Rubio, just gets in behind the defence. They do track back. It takes a knee there. It just loops ever so kindly over their goalkeeper. It's a very lucky goal, but we will take it. 1-0 Völsungur just after the 5-minute mark here in Belgium. 12 minutes gone. We have another highlight here early in this away leg, and it is Antwerp again playing out from the back. But that's a good start for us. A little bit of luck going our way early in this game with that chance from Rubio taking a big deflection to go over the goalkeeper. We are on the attack again here. Some good short passing, trying to pick out Cadena there was our captain, Nicolusi Caviglia, but Antwerp do clear it straight out to Gabriel Corbo, and we look to launch another attack here down the left-hand side. Cadena, Nicolusi Caviglia, great chance here, chips the goalkeeper, but too much on it. Really good chance, that one, but we put it over the bar. Still 1-0 Völsungur, approaching the 15-minute mark. And that is half-time in the away leg of this Conference League first knockout round, and it's been a pretty good half for us. Both of the highlights in this game have been in our favour. A bit of a lucky goal, it is fair to say, early on there to Benjamin Rubio, but we will take it. We have been just ever so slightly more dominant so far in this game than Antwerp, and do take a 1-0 lead into half-time. Hopefully, we can keep that up and take a lead into the second leg back in Iceland. 3 minutes gone here in the second half. Early free kick to Antwerp. Yusuf given a lot of space there just around the centre circle in the box. Luckily, his header does go over the bar though, so it does remain 1-0 at the 52-minute mark. And now we do have a throw. We've just made one tactical change going into this season. It's worked pretty well so far in the deal to Bakawi. We have picked up 2 wins from 2 leading in to this Conference League game. We have told our wing backs to stay a little bit wider. So far it seems to be working, but that is something that we can change should it not go to plan, but it does seem to be working fairly well so far, so that could be something which potentially helps us out in this season that we do have coming up, albeit we do play with quite a narrow system on the vertical tiki-taka anyway, so we'll just try it out and see how it works. If things start going not to plan here, we can always change that back and go to how we were playing last season, but we are on the attack again here. Nicolusi Caviglia, ball far post, and Cadena gets his head on the end of that, and that is a very good start for us in the second half away from home. We now make it 2-0, just shy of the 10-minute mark here in the second half. It's a far post ball there from Nicolusi Caviglia. Good work there down the right-hand side. Just gets beyond his man, floats this towards the far post. Really badly timed here there by the Antwerp defender. Cadena tucks it away. 2-0 Völsungur at the 54-minute mark. Okay, 64 minutes gone here, still 2-0 up, but we are going to make our first substitution, as you can see in the dugout. Gabriel Corbo is 1 yellow card away from a suspension. That might be something which we keep an eye out on for our substitutions here in the Conference League. So if Fosu can come on for him, 2-0 up at the 65-minute mark. And very shortly off the back of that, time to make our second substitution. Nicolusi Caviglia down to a red heart Gavioli to come on for him. 72 minutes gone, we do have a throw, and was just about to make another substitution there, with Galtason being one of those players on a yellow card. But some good play here from Antwerp. Luckily though, it's a good save at the near post there from Sarah Fellini, and we will make that change with Galtason 1 yellow card away from a suspension. Luckily for us, Fedurski can cover that DM role, so that looks like the most sensible substitution there, and we'll just wait and see if anything else comes from this highlight from the corner after making that substitution. But a good save there from Sarah Fellini at the near post, and indeed this corner does get taken with only 17 minutes left. We do still hold a 2-0 lead. They float this into the box in Biamba. does deal with it. Rubio is able to collect it. 15 minutes left, still 2-0 Völsungur. 78 minutes gone and we are on the attack here. Roselli putting a ball into the mixer, but it is a poor one straight to Butes in goal there for Antwerp, and they will be looking to try and make their way back into this game in the last 12 minutes because this is a pretty good result so far to be taking back into the home league in Reykjavik in Iceland. I believe that game is going to be played at the Laugardalsvöllur, home away from home for these European knockout games, but they are on the attack here, Royal Antwerp, and they just knock it about inside the final third. Good chance here for Miyoshi, tucks it away. Now, was he offside? That is going to be the big question. We'll just wait and see what VAR has to say about that. The goal is already down there in the bottom left corner, and indeed the replay does say that the goal has been awarded. I think he's just being played onside there by our right back, so they do get a goal back here. Do Antwerp makes things a little bit more interesting, potentially going into the second leg of this tie. You can see he's actually a good stride onside there. Is Miyoshi. 2-1 Völsungur with 10 minutes left. And another highlight here in Antwerp's favour at the 80-minute mark. They might be coming home here with a wet sail at home. Yusuf given a ton of space there. Oh, he cranks that into the top right corner. He had a great chance earlier from a free kick right towards the centre spot, but that one, he was just given far too much space there outside the box. It still took one heck of a finish, but we should really have had someone covering that, so not too sure what's gone on there. Potentially might be one of the disadvantages to telling our wing backs to stay wider, because maybe they'd usually come in and try and deal with that, but that is disappointing. A quick fire double from Antwerp, and inside the last 10 minutes it does become 2-2 here in the away league. 89 minutes gone. We do have a late throw-in in this game playing out from the back, but it's a poor throw-in, and Antwerp are in possession again and are coming home with a real wet sail in this game and are exposing us a little bit here, creating a lot of space, and luckily that shot there from Gherkins comes off the crossbar, the back of Serafellini, and somehow doesn't find its way into the back of the net. And now another highlight, this time a throw-in inside the opposition half, albeit we do play that back to Serafellini. It's a poor clearance, and Antwerp are on the attack again, but some good tracking back there from Gavioli, and we are still on the attack there after that tackle on Rubio. Arnason starts to make his way out towards the left-hand side. What can Paul Stein do? Back in for Roselli. Sviderski maybe should have gone out to the right-hand side there, but we are still in possession just outside the box. Nygaard tries to rip that top left corner, but just over the bar. We have 6 minutes of added time in this game, and Antwerp, it is fair to say, have a lot of momentum late in this game, and it is a throw in their favour in the 94th minute. Will they have one more chance to try and stage a come-from-behind victory? Good header back there, though, from Samuel Afosu. Maybe some of those substitutions also not helping us late in this game, but did want to keep some of those players available for the second leg, and luckily we did, because it could be quite a tight one now that these guys have come back. We were on the attack there, but the ball to Rubio doesn't quite find him, but we do get possession back there thanks to that header from Cadena, and we now look to drive forward yet again. Gavioli, nice ball here for Rubio, just takes it out to the right-hand side for some reason, but now Garrido makes his way down this right-hand side, puts the ball into the mixer, trying to pick out Cadena. Header just over the bar, and with 1.5 minutes left, it does look potentially like this could finish at 2-2, albeit we have yet another highlight late in this game. Antwerp in possession, stretching our defence a little bit. It is fair to say Miyoshi, one of the goal scorers, plays a ball in there, trying to pick out Yusuf right in front of our goalkeeper. Luckily, we do deal with it. It's a deflected cross there, and Nygaard starts to drive forward. Can we make one more chance in this game? Ball played forward there to Benjamin. Rubio does not find him, and I think that might be all she wrote in this game, unless Antwerp have something to say about it here inside the last 20 seconds. But it hasn't been a bad performance. That first 60 minutes or so from us, pretty good. But inside the last 15 minutes, we have really thrown this one away, and Antwerp still on the attack. It's a header out there to Cadena. Can we get one more chance? Maybe should have looked for Benjamin Rubio in that situation. Patrick Nygaard down the right-hand side. Gavioli just on the edge of the box, and the referee decides to blow full time. It's not a terrible result to be taking into the home league, but it certainly could have been a lot better after being 2-0 up there at the 55-minute mark. Maybe some of those substitutions that we did make didn't help us out. We did struggle down that right-hand side with Mbiyamba, Garrido, and Nygaard picking up poor ratings, but little bit of a frustrating result, that one, after being 2-0 up. We have to settle for a 2-2 draw here in the away leg, but hopefully we can perform a little bit better once we get back to our home patch and make our way through to that second knockout round of the Conference League. And we are back for the second leg of the Conference League first knockout round. We are putting out exactly the same 11, just the one change that we have made on the benches that Pat Ainscough comes onto that Antwerp with a 4-2-3-1, which looks a little bit different to what they were implementing in the home leg. Looks a little bit wider this time around. We have also made a change to our wing backs. We have not told them to stay wider this time around. We'll see if that makes any difference. Locked up at 2-2 as we start this second leg in Iceland. 6 minutes gone. It's an early throw-in here to Antwerp in the second leg. Mbiyamba has picked up an early yellow card, so we might have to keep an eye out on that. Afosu might get back on the field. That's a great chance there for Antwerp. Luckily, the strike was a little bit weak. Falls straight to the hands of Serafalini. Still locked up here 10 minutes into the second leg, but now we do have a corner. Nygaard near post. Bjarkason flicks that down for Gabriel Corbo, and we go 1-0 up nice and early here in the home leg. It was a little bit of an interesting set-piece routine. That one not quite what we were going for, but it does work out. Gabriel Corbo on the volley, just far too much on that. Too much height, too much power. Gets over the Antwerp goalkeeper, and it is 3-2 on aggregate, approaching the 15-minute mark. 20 minutes gone. We do have a free kick here, looking to build on that one-goal advantage, trying to pick out Corbo there from that set-piece, and hopefully this camera goes back to a normal angle, and indeed it does. Galtason, who took the free kick, shuffles that to Corbo, the goal scorer. Bjarkason plays that over for Patrick Nygaard. Can we get the cushion goal that we are after? Nice ball there. Nygaard puts it in the top left corner, and I think that looked onside, and we should now have the cushion goal that we were after, and maybe those wing-backs staying wider was not the right thing, because so far we are looking a lot more threatening in this home league, and indeed the goal has been awarded. It's an early double here for us inside the first 20 minutes. After that good chance there to Antwerp, Nygaard just cuts inside his man out on the right-hand side. Really nice finish off the ball from Nicolusi Caviglia, and we make it 4-2 Völsungur on aggregate just after the 20-minute mark. And shortly off the back of that second goal, it is yet another highlight in our favour here as we do look to play out from the back. Corbo plays that up to Arnason. Rubio tries to play that over for Nygaard. They do clear it there, do the Antwerp defence, but not very well. And Rubio's one-on-one with the keeper, tucks it away. Was he onside? Indeed he was. No flag up there from the referee. No VAR check. Thought he might just be a straight offside there, but this has been a really good first 23 minutes from us here in this second leg, especially after we collapsed a little bit late in that one away from home. Good ball there from Bjarkason, slotting Rubio through right in between the defence, and it is 3-0 Völsungur, 5-2 on aggregate, about halfway through the first half of the second leg. And not too long off the back of that third goal, we do now have a throw-in. Roselli trying to pick someone out there inside the box. It is cleared away, and Antwerp are on the attack, albeit they have a little bit of work to do now after that early onslaught from us so far in this game, but they do hold possession quite well here just outside the box. Yusufu has looked pretty dangerous so far across this tie. It plays it out for Bateali, I believe that is, and that is a stone cold penalty given away there by Eugenio Roselli. No need to really do that when we have a free goal advantage, and we might just be giving them away back into this game. Paolo Valeri does award the penalty, rightly so, and we will see what happens here from the penalty. He tries to put it straight down the middle, and Serafalini just has to stand there and bat it away. That is a bit of luck in our favour. Yet again, another highlight shortly off the back of that save, but that is a big moment. Should be 3-1, 5-3 the scoreline, but it does remain 3-0, 5-2. Nice ball over there for Bjarkason. Tries to chip the goalkeeper. It's a little bit messy, but Antwerp eventually do deal with the danger, and the scoreline does remain 3 goals in our favour, about 10 minutes shy of half-time in the second leg. And that is half-time in the second leg in Iceland, a 3-0 scoreline in our favour, and that does mean we are 3 goals up on aggregate as well. A good first half after that good early chance there to Antwerp, and they also, of course, missed that penalty, so this tie could be a lot closer than it is, but we are fairly happy with how things are going. Hopefully, we can hold on to the scoreline in the second half. 55 minutes gone, we have our first highlight here of the second half, still 3 goals up, and now looking fairly comfortable after that little bit of a late collapse in the first leg away from home. Nygaard plays that up to Garrido, those two linking up quite nicely. Could be a good ball there for Rubio, just didn't quite pick up on it early enough, and Boutez is there to tidy things up here for Antwerp, who need another big late effort in this one to try and get this game going to extra time. But so far we are looking a little bit more dangerous at home than we were in the away leg, or at least late in that away leg anyway. Started off pretty well with the 2-0 lead there, but inside the last 15 minutes did throw that away somewhat. Hopefully that is not the case here in the home leg, and it shouldn't be, because Benjamin Rubio tucks away for his second goal of the game, and that makes it 4-0 on the day, 6-2 on aggregate. And surely now that should be enough to see us make our way through to the second knockout round of the Conference League. Long ball over the top there from Nicolosi Caviglia. Rubio from just outside the box tucks it away, bottom right corner. 4 goals up here in the second half. And up to the 63-minute mark, we're going to make our first substitution, still managing some of these players considering the yellow card situation and suspension. So with that in mind, Andrew Mbeba can come on for Gabriel Corbo. First sub used, still 4 goals up here with 25 or so minutes left. And shortly off the back of that first substitution, we do have a throw in Bjarkason inside the box back for Nicolosi Caviglia, given a ton of space this time. It is Völsungur making the most of that one. We conceded a very similar goal in the first leg where they did equalise, did Antwerp, but this time we make it 5-0 on the day, and that should absolutely make it home and hose there. Wonderful strike from our captain, as he can do, and we are now 5 goals up. We will make our last couple of substitutions off the back of that as well, again with those suspensions in mind, so Swiderski can come on for Galtason and Gavioli for the goal-scoring captain. 25 minutes left, 5 goals up in the first knockout round. And right before those substitutions can take place, we do have another highlight here. Antwerp are trying to play out from the back, but this should be all over. They might be looking to try and get one late goal back, much like they did in that first league, albeit it might be a little bit tougher for them here away from home. But this has been a very good performance from us, getting 5 goals in the second league and 7 over both legs in the end. A quite dominant performance, just that little late blip that we did have in Belgium, but luckily we have made up for that in this home league as we do get possession back and look to play out from the back here. Our centre-backs just taking their time over the ball, as you would expect with a 5-goal advantage, but now we do start to drive forward. Rubio plays that out to Patrick Nygaard. Will he look for Garrido on the outside? Not yet. Plays the ball into the mixer. Rubio with a header. Good palm on that there from the Antwerp goalkeeper. He puts it out for a corner, which we will not see. 5 goals up here entering the last 20 minutes. And into injury time in this one, it has been a very comprehensive second leg performance, picking up a 5-0 win in the end. Our XG not that much higher than Antwerp, albeit a lot of that could be down to the penalty, which was saved there from Sarah Fellaini. But we were very clinical of our chances today and get back on track after that late little blip defensively in that first leg away from home, picking up a 5-0 win here in the second leg. And that does mean we are going to be making our way through to the second knockout round off the back of a 7-2 aggregate win over Royal Antwerp of Belgium. We'll come back shortly, see who we do get in that second knockout round draw, bring you guys a bit of an update on what's happened so far in the deal to Bakar, and we'll also run through the transfers that have come into the club. And here we are about to see the draw for the second knockout round of the Conference League, where we will get drawn against one of the teams which did win their group in the Conference League. So those teams which did win in that first knockout round, we cannot play. We're going to be playing a team fresh into this competition somewhat after they took a bye after winning their group. So just having a look down here in the bottom left, I believe those teams are Athletic Club of Spain in that top half of the draw, Partizan of Serbia, Red Star as well. Making our way down a little bit further, I think Brighton won the group over Hertha Berlin. Randers, which was where Frederick Larsen was on loan. We have brought him back to the club. Unfortunately, can't be registered, but that does weaken one of the teams who we could potentially get in the second knockout round. And we are first up, so we could get any of the teams which did top their group. And we are taking on FK Partizan of Serbia. And I think that is actually quite a kind draw. If we have a look at the other teams that do get drawn, whereabouts some of those other teams, we could have got a lot worse, the likes of Athletic Club and Brighton, but that is a pretty kind draw, and hopefully we can make our way through to the quarterfinals of this Conference League yet again after doing it a few years ago when we were last in this competition. And the first leg of that second knockout round is going to be played in a week's time, and we do not have a deal to Bakar game in between now and then as well, so that suits us quite nicely, a good recovery week, and most of our first team players that did play in those ties there against Royal Antwerp should be available. Not quite sure if Ian Carlo will be quite right to come back from injury in that tie, but hopefully we can get the job done here against the team who currently find themselves second in the Serbian league. It's the 16th ranked league, so could be a tie, which is actually a little bit easier than the one that we did just have taking on Antwerp, who were up in the 10th ranked league in Europe, albeit they are a team who are higher up the table, but I think they're a team who we can take on in that second knockout round. They have a little bit of a lower reputation. Having a look through their team, there is one familiar name from past series, the Blue Hell Worldwide save, which we did do, their club captain, Sasha Jala, who we did sign at Sporting Kansas City on FM21. He's getting a little bit on in this save now, but we do know he's a pretty good defensive midfielder. That's one player which we might have to keep an eye out for in tomorrow's episode, but we will be taking on Partizan over 2 legs in tomorrow's episode, with that first leg being at our home ground. Hopefully we can take a nice comfy lead into the away leg, much like we did in that second leg against Royal Antwerp. But before we round off today's episode, of course, we need to give you guys a little bit of an update on the Deal de Bakar. We have played 2 games in that so far and have picked up comfy wins, as I said, leading into those Conference League games. First off, a 2-0 win away from home against Phil Kerr, goals to Corbo in the first half and Arneson in the second half. And then we took on After Relding yet again away from home, and second half goals were the order of play here. Bjarkason at the hour mark, a double to Rubio, and Cadena also picked one up. So far in our Deal de Bakar group, we are unbeaten, but unfortunately we have only played the 2 games so far, so do find ourselves in second. But as long as we do beat Farm Reykjavik when we take those guys on, we should be okay to make our way through to the knockouts and try and defend our Deal de Bakar and make it 6 League Cups in a row. But it is time for us to now see the players who we have signed to the club to replace the ones that we did sell leading into the start of today's episode. So we'll just make our way and get these ordered nice and right. We have actually made 1 more sale, or 2 technically. Harrison Marines left for Nuts on a free transfer. We knew that one was going to happen. And also one of our players that we have signed from South America in recent years, Henry Reyes, he has left for Breda Blick for a very minimal fee as the right back, the Colombian. We decided we'd let him go, and we've let a few more players who are fringe players here at the club or under 19 players. They have also gone out on loan. But since we did bring in those free transfers at the start of today's episode from South America, you can see we have added quite a few more to the squad here at Völsungur. And the first 3 of those were deals that we did actually do a few seasons ago when these players were 16. We want to secure them while we could. These are players with quite high potential. The first of those is Milos Petrovic, 2-star current ability, 4.5-star potential. You can see his value range is quite good. A right back who we did sign from Red Star in Serbia. Didn't get a lot of first team football for them, but with that high potential, we did spend 3 million on him, albeit that did not come out of our budget in this current window. It could go up to 4.3 million should his add-ons get triggered, but he is one for the future. Will probably end up being our 3rd choice right back here this season, especially if we can get rid of Andrew Mbeba, which is something which we will probably look to do once we do get past this European season. He's a player on the last year of his contract and is not really someone with the potential who warrants sticking around at the club. But Milos Petrovic is going to be our 3rd choice right back once we do get through this European part of the season. The next player who we did bring in at a young age, this is Vlade Saric. We signed him for £500,000, could rise up to 700,000. Yet again, he comes from Red Star in Serbia, 18-year-old attacking midfielder who we are going to be training up as a Mazzala. Not quite good enough just yet to usurp Martins Vidursky in that second 11, but hopefully after a year in the under-19, seeing as he is 18, he can still stay down there. Hopefully he might be ready to usurp our club vice-captain. After settling into the club a little bit more, 2-star current ability, does have that 4-star gold, 5-star white potential, and he, again, didn't play too much for Red Star while in Serbia, but is another player with very high potential. And the other player that we did sign a few seasons ago, so this didn't come out of our current transfer budget, this is Srdan Ivkovic from TSC. He is a goalkeeper with 4-star potential, so he's not quite as good as I remember him being when we did sign him, but 2-star current ability. He's probably going to be the player who we do use as a backup goalkeeper for the most part in this upcoming season, UEFA competitions excluded. We also got him from Serbia, spending £575,000 on him. He got a lot more game time for TSC in the Serbian league, and as I said, good promising goalkeeper who hopefully can become homegrown at the club in future seasons. So those round off the deals that we did in prior windows, but going alongside those, we did get some free transfers for players who were released from fellow Icelandic clubs. The first one of those is a new third choice striker. This is Kevin Mausi Martins. He's a player who has scored quite a few goals against us in past seasons. Has good finishing, decent composure, 1.86 meters tall, good heading. He looks like a decent sort of aerial threat up front who can also use his feet quite well. 2.5-star current ability, 3.5-star potential. He is more or less going to be our Yao Pedro replacement, but won't get a heck of a lot of game time, but is much younger at 22 years old and has had a few good seasons at Lechner Reykjavik since being released from Inter. So we have snapped him up, seeing as they did not extend his contract. And one of the signings that we have made to replace the departures of Leandro Diaz and Raul Prada is Hranar Sigurbjornsson. This is the player who we were keeping a big eye out on while he was at HK. They did not renew his contract. We went straight in for this guy, and he has joined us. He is probably going to end up being our backup left back just because he is homegrown in nation, and that is going to be quite useful for European registration. Good, well-rounded left back who isn't too inferior to what we previously had there in Leandro Diaz as our first choice. This is a few good seasons at HK to start his career, and we have snapped him up, seeing as he would not extend his contract with those guys. And off the back of that, we have signed 3 players for fairly big money. The first of those is Alejandro Meza, an Argentinian left back. This is the out-and-out replacement for Leandro Diaz. We spent about £750,000 on this guy. Indeed, that was the case to get him from Huracan in Argentina, where he started off his career in pretty good touch, 75 appearances, 5 assists, 1 player of the match with a 6.97 average rating. Very well-rounded left back. He looks like a decent little bit of an upgrade on what we previously had there with Leandro Diaz. It does mean that we are now very strong in that left back position. He does have that 3-star current ability, 5-star potential, albeit that 5th star is whited out, but he looks like a good promising player at 19 years old who can develop into our first choice left back for quite some time. And to go alongside him, he's probably going to be a player who finds his way into the first 11. These next 2 signings are players who will make their way into the second 11. The first of those is a new backup defensive midfielder, a little bit of an upgrade on Christian Bunkart. This is Rosario Renzi. This is a player I did look at signing at the start of last season. Unfortunately, he wanted to be a star player for us back then. He is now happy to be a squad player, so we have snapped him up from Fiorentina in Italy. Yet again, a very well-rounded threat is this guy, the young 20-year-old from Italy. Has a couple of good green attributes, passing and determination. In particular, 3-star current ability, 5-star potential, exactly the same situation as Alejandro Meza, having to spend a little bit more on this guy, £1.5 million up front, but he does look like a very promising prospect and should be a good backup option in behind Brynjar Galtason for us here at Völsungur in that defensive midfield role. And right on the day of that second leg against Antwerp, we did make another young midfield signing just to freshen up that midfield. As I did suggest a few episodes ago, this guy is the guy who we are hoping will take over from Lorenzo Gavioli, and this is Werner Bayer, an Austrian 20-year-old who we did sign from Rapid Wien for £2.5 million up front. So this one is our most expensive signing of this current window at the moment. Has had a few appearances here and there for Rapid VN, especially when they were down in the 2 Liga a few seasons ago. But he has had the odd appearance for them, looked okay, but does have good potential with that 5-star potential. Pretty similar situation to the last few signings that we have made, only 2.5-star current, but that should grow once he gets game time in our second 11, replacing Lorenzo Gavioli. And that wraps up our signings for this window. At the moment, we don't have too much more transfer budget left, only £870,000. I don't know if we're going to be able to do a heck of a lot with that, but what those transfers should do is freshen up our second 11, and that should hopefully mean that we have some players coming through the club who can take over from our current first 11 in a few years' time once those players do start to age just a little bit more, which is a little bit of a concern, just trying to get some players who can come through and take over those guys once some good offers do come in for those players, or once they start declining on their current ability. But I think that wraps up everything for today's episode, the first knockout round of the Conference League, where we picked up a 7-2 win on aggregate against Antwerp, and also the transfers in and out, as well as a deal to Bakar update. If you did enjoy today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. We'll be coming back tomorrow for that second knockout round tie against FK Partizan over 2 legs. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.